Hello, great people of the world, and you especially. I feel a heart-to-heart connection. I hope you're feeling it too. This is teZa, and my sometimes co-host is off to Maine. I have opted not to go to our family reunion this year because I'm almost at the end of, I hope, my final book, which is the prequel to my Getting Spiritual. And it's a pretty dark and scary and fearsome and crazy story, but I have to tell it. I waited to the last to bring it to the world because I guess I didn't have the courage to do it before. That's just it. You know, it takes courage to bare your soul. And we artists, writers, dancers, musicians, everybody in the creative world, we bare our soul. You know, I tell what I call normal people, the norms, they say, wow, what's it like to be a creative? And it feels like you're inviting others to look inside your underwear drawer, whether it's messy or neat or this or that or pretty or ugly, you know, that's it. It's the underbelly of our being. When we are creative, we let it all out. And most good art is unfiltered, uncensored, and centered around of an original idea. You know, yes, we learn by copying, and nothing is totally original. Everything has been recycled in this world. Everything, philosophy and religion and fashion and what's beautiful and what's current. Everything's been recycled. But to present ideas that we all know intrinsically in our souls with a fresh approach, sometimes a more brazen, and in my case, a shocking approach on purpose. I've always called my art shock art because I like that rude awakening, like, oh, let's not belabor this. You know, we don't have to drag it out. Like, wake up, world. And so that's how I experience my waking upness. And it's kind of, it's almost like an obligation when you're woken up with a shock, because then it startles you and it makes you think, wow, you know, I have an obligation to keep this opening alive, to keep it open, to not close it up with fear or denial. And I am talking about the spiritual life, the opening, the waking up. And that's what we're all doing here, folks, my friends. Some of you may laugh and scoff at it and go off and party about it, but hey, that's okay. When it's your time to realize that we are all connected, we are all one consciousness, breathing in our separate bodies, but connected through not our intellects, God, no, those intellect things sometimes get us in trouble, but the deeper part of our being. Not necessarily the soul thing, because that's really, really invisible. That's hard to put a label on, but the consciousness thing. You know, like, I'll give you an example. Like, in our body, our own little body or big body, whatever you got, we have this universe just unto ourselves in our own skin. Alan Watts used to call humans skin encased bags of shit or something like that. Yeah, a strange definition, but we are like in this bag of skin. And so our brain is the operating panel, you know, the headquarters, because it has all the abilities to be in control. It's like, you know, that's the pilot up there, and the brain, that's the organ. That's the physical organ. And so if we stub our toe or get a splinter under our toenail, whoa, we feel it, even though it's miles away down there through all those organs and the trunk and the long limbs and the knees and the ankles, and there's the toe. But as soon as it registers, we feel it because we are all connected in our body. And we are therefore all connected throughout all of existence. And I've proven this to myself over and over and over again. And I am so happy to see that so many quantum physicists are writing about it, talking about it, bringing out proof through this new physics, the quantum physics that has taken over the world's curiosity, knowing that it goes beyond the laws of physics that apply here to Earth. And the quantum physics is what allows us to travel into space, because it has to do with the speed of light, and we don't really deal with those dimensions here on Earth. So, what am I getting at? I am so excited about what's happening in life these days. I am just the opposite of people who are either worried or making fun of, or just on a rampage to stay away from more startling truths. I just think, bring it, bring the discoveries, bring the excitement, the adventure, the interconnectedness. And we must help other people to realize that that's what we are. We're not making it up. This is something that has not been talked about until these recent years, because it defies, first of all, religion. I mean, anybody who's a religious person won't like the fact that we are all little tiny cells within the body of what they might call God. And okay, I use that word God too. I'm not afraid of the word God. Good orderly direction is one way of thinking about it, but it's a metaphysical concept. So our brain is a physical organ, but our mind, that place we go to when we stop thinking, when we train our brain to stop thinking and let the wheels of industry come to a halt, which is what meditation is. And that takes effort, and it takes wanting to experience that quiet, that stillness. And that is the metaphysical organ that we have, which is called the mind. And that is how we are all connected. And my friends, if you want to discover what this is, or you're already smiling because you have had experiences and you want to have more, well, just develop a meditation practice. Make sure you get into that sweet spot and allow your physiology to just calm down, your breathing to calm down, and you will get into that sweet spot. And you may have to have a little help from a group or a teacher or a mantra or a technique, and there's so much available these days. But once you develop a meditation practice, and that is without any mind-altering substances, mind you, because if you're a pothead or if you're a booze head, you're going to disrupt the energy. You won't be in that place where you are truly connected with universal consciousness. It will be a hint. You will get a little tad of what the reality is, but you really don't experience it until you allow yourself to be in the natural mind that you were born with. And that is with no substances. And I know that because I am a recovering person. You who have been listening to Z Lord for a while know I have no bones about people knowing about it. I know what it's like to try to numb everything. I was uncomfortable in my skin before I came into recovery 42 years ago in 1984. I'm sipping coffee, and I love coffee. Some people say coffee's a drug, but hey, it's a good drug. It's tasty. It's the first taste I ever fell in love with as a kid. So I'm talking this morning because I think it's time to get a little more serious about what I'm sharing. And I do hope Carter will join me, because he's been kind of distracted and not really here, not really there. He's involved with so many projects. He's getting together a play, going into a film. He's working with football professionals, bringing money to Fort Mose, which is a wonderful, wonderful, like kind of a cathedral fort. It's an old fort from the 1500s that they have replicated here in St. Augustine, where we live. that represents the first free place that Africans were invited to come to when they were slaves, when they were enslaved people, if they could get there, meaning going through the swamps, fighting off the gators and the snakes. And if they came to Fort Mose in St. Augustine, Florida, they were granted freedom, with the caveat they had to become Catholic, of course. Those Spanish, they just rubbed their Catholicism into everybody's faces. But, I can say that because I was raised Catholic. Anybody else to say that, that's blasphemy. But those of us who have experienced the Catholic way of life, it's a little pushy. The Inquisition, and especially the concept, the dogma that they called limbo, which really tormented me because I had a little brother who did not take his first breath, and I was told he was in limbo. But just a few years ago, whatever pope it was before this one wrote whatever they do, the encyclicals, and said, oops, that was a mistake. It was misguided dogma. It's not in the Bible, and it really is not true. So they rescinded it. Those of you who have been living under the fear of anybody going to limbo because they didn't get baptized can just forget it. That was a fear tactic. So in this day and age, I just feel there is so much to be excited about. And, we're in America, we're all very, kind of on the verge of a nervous breakdown if you buy into what the media is doing. It's really kind of a drag that they're promoting comedians on one side and comedians on the other side. And it's like, dig your heels in and either hate the guys on the other side or, make a big joke of it. But really, I'm coming from another place, and I'm not making too many jokes about it, but, hopefully I'm lighthearted about it, that it's not about who's right, who's wrong. It's really about going beyond all this physical stuff and seeing that there's some magic going on here in life. There always has been. But now, because we're on the brink of another confrontation with bombs, and hopefully no nuclear bombs, hopefully, quietly working out these problems with the Mideast and other places. Hopefully, it's a very aggressive approach we're taking. It's not the approach that enlightened leaders would take, but it is what's happening right now. And so because this has come to the place where it is right now, in order to let the energy be positive so that there are many, many more positive energies of influence from our mind, from our powerful metaphysical tool, sending out thought seeds of reality, that this is a place of love, not fear, and that we are ready for the next stage of evolution to be an enlightened species, Homo spiritus. Well, that's what we want to do. We want to focus on positives. We don't want to make fun of it. We don't want to be scared of it. We just want to see, okay, we have come to this place. And for whatever reason, whatever circumstances, cause and effect has brought us here, whether it's karma or politics or, working out of our, ability to choose. Really, it comes down to that. We are here. And acceptance is the beginning of transformation. And to be aware that one must accept is the beginning of acceptance. Because if you don't have the awareness that you can accept something, even if it's horrible, you may not like it, you may not approve of it, but really, the things that you can do to counterbalance negative things is so powerful if you're tuned into that metaphysical tool of yours, the mind, and you're sending out positive thoughts and you're sending out positive imagery. That's energy. That's invisible energy, because everything starts with a thought. Everything. From its very inception, it is a thought. And then the thought gradually either acquires other energetic thought waves from other beings on this beautiful world, or it doesn't have enough energy and it just dissipates in the wind, So we want to be very careful about our thoughts, and we want to send out positive thoughts and always be attuned to that feeling inside your gut, your wonderful gut, which could be anywhere around your stomach area or your heart area, somewhere in your trunk area where you feel right. And you know what I mean. When something's going on that's not right, you feel diseased. You feel uncomfortable. You either have a stomach ache or a headache or some kind of an ache, a heartache. And those are real signals from our physical body, which is working in cahoots with our metaphysical mind and our ability to choose, which comes from the intellect. So all this stuff, the mind, the body, the spirit, we're all three of our things are working together in tandem. Now, sometimes we can concentrate on them separately. For instance, when you meditate, when you take a quiet time each day to just go away from everything that you usually are doing, whether it's screens or, you don't want to do this while you're driving and you just want a quiet time. It could just be for a few minutes. But when you take that quiet time, just go in a closet. Maybe there's not even a place to sit. I used to do this when I was raising kids, Carter's kids. We've been married for 35 years. His little kids were 4 and 7 when we got married. I had to go into my closet. It was the only quiet place in the house. Close the door and sit among shoes and skirts and blouses and take that few moments to tune into who and what I really am. I'm a spirit inside this body, and I am accepting the cause and effects of not just my energy, but all around me, what I choose to be involved with, a family, a group of friends, a country, whether or not I'm going to be involved with keeping my body strong with good food, all those things. I can just tune those out for a few minutes, for a few breaths, and go within my own being and feel what it's like to be that tiny little corpuscle in the great, great unlimited body of the divine, the sacred, the consciousness that we are all a part of. It's a beautiful thing to give yourself this gift of inner peace. You can use it anywhere, and it just takes a choice. So I am choosing to share that with you right now, and I hope it inspires you to go into that quiet place. Not to deny what's going on outside in the world, but to affirm that you have the choice to tune into something much bigger, much more real, much more eternal, and much more peaceful. And I send my blessings to you, and I'm going to get back to writing my book. Om Namah Shivaya. Soon you will know about my book. I'll let you know it's coming to the final polish, and I'm so excited about it. Om Namah Shivaya, my friend. And if nobody has told you yet today, I do love you.